Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sneha and today I'm doing swatches of the Natasha Denona Sunset palette and also comparing it with the swatches of the Star palette. And also in the end I'm going to show you if there are any similar shades between the two palettes. So let's get started. So starting with the Sunset palette swatches. As you can see, all the colors are beautiful. Would I have wanted a purple in this palette? Absolutely. I would have easily replaced that white shade and also that pinky peachy shade from this palette to get more purple tones in here, and also maybe a nude brow bone highlighter, a matte one. But since I have the Star palette, I think I can make do without those shades in this palette. But for someone who just wants to get the Sunset palette, you would probably want to supplement this with some matte eyeshadows that are close to your skin tone or a little lighter for brow bone highlighter. Next, I'm going to swatch the Star palette by Natasha Denona. So first I'm going to swatch the left quadrant on the top of my arm, and right below that I'm going to swatch the right side quadrant. So as you can see here, this palette is more neutral to cool tone compared to the Sunset palette. So since I have these two palettes, I really have a nice spectrum of eyeshadows where I can choose between warm, cool or neutral tones. Now, if we were to compare the two palettes side by side, there are a few shades that looks quite similar in the pan. So I'm going to swatch these right now. There's about 4 shades that look similar. The first is these two dark brown shades from these palettes. So this first brown from the Star palette is definitely more warm toned compared to the second dark brown, which is from the Sunset palette, which is much more darker and more purple brown. So definitely difference between the two shades. The second matte shade that looks similar are these peachy pinky shades. Now they look quite similar right here even in the swatches, but the Star palette one is slightly lighter and more pink, whereas the Sunset palette is slightly more peachy, but they are very similar to each other. Next, there are two gold shades that look very similar from both these palettes. So this is the one from the Star palette, and as you can see, the one in the Sunset palette is slightly less yellow orangey, so it's slightly more neutral. So it's not as deep of a gold as the other one. And then finally we have these two peachy shades at the corners of these palettes that look very similar. And then when I swatch it, you can see that the one in the Star palette is slightly more pink toned and lighter, whereas the one in the Sunset palette is more of your traditional peachy gold shade. So these are the 4 shades that are similar between the two palettes up close. And of these, I only think that the pinky peachy shades are very similar and redundant. So if you found this video useful, please don't forget to hit that like button and also consider subscribing for more videos. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me.